Hello, welcome to Recora's monthly webinar. The theme is ESG Projects. The photograph on screen is an area that I'm talking from in South Africa called Knysna. Knysna is a word derived from a Khoikhoi tribe called Place of Wood. It's a subtropical forested area, the size of 12,000 square miles, and is home to some amazing wildlife such as African leopard, bushbuck, and other mammals, and an almost extinct African forest elephant. There are plans afoot to reintroduce more imminently, and conservation is going in the right direction here. On screen, you can see in the background the Knysna Lagoon, which is surrounded by a varying population, including townships and then mansions, as is the case in South Africa. I'll give today a bit of a personal introduction and some context to who I am, the ESG criteria that Recora have, and some of the partnerships we're establishing locally, including Umthombo Trust, Knysna District's waste management problems and what we're doing to try and assist. And then in line with the theme of World Wildlife Day, upcoming on the 3rd of March, we close off with that. So I was based in London for 15 years and worked in the sector in an amazing and vibrant city. One of my last social visits was to Battersea Power Station, and that's a picture with Sol Jackson, the portfolio director, who's a great friend, and said goodbye to London, packed our life into a move cube, and reside now in a very old family farmhouse. No one's lived here for 30 years, so renovations aplenty through last year, as we also prepared to become parents. That's been an incredible journey, and great to have my father, a grandfather, for the first time. But I'm not a farmer, and I responded to Sam Fairservice as to whether I had a tractor on site with that photograph of a wheelbarrow. So we're growing some veggies, and I'm keen to still contribute to the recycling sector. So just at the right time, Recora approached me. Mark Harbin and I worked together for a number of years, and they have this vision of expanding the reach of Recora into the developing countries. Already there's a vibrant community partnership program of Recora's, which has seen more than £550,000 donated since 2001 to a range of charities. And I was set about finding charity partner that would work with these criteria. The size of the charity should be small so that Recora's impact could be relatively large and tailored. The mission should align with Recora's values of environmental stewardship, championing recycling and the circular economy, and governance needed to be clear and transparent, so that detailed financial information and project delivery was obtainable. I already had the trust of the project coordinator at Umthombo, but I set about doing some due diligence on the governance and financial position. Transparency was there. PDFs were available on their website, which gave a state of affairs on the financial position, which was in surplus and increasing slowly year on year, with funding remaining constant. Liabilities were really small and actually decreasing year on year. And the financial information was signed off by a trusted local accountancy firm. My primary point of contact, Leila Stegman, the project coordinator, is a catalyst in the area for arranging wholesome events, and she grew up here and understands the local context and has a lot of trust in the community. One can similarly do this research in the UK by logging onto the Charities Commission for England and Wales website. You're able to find charity overview information, income and expenditure, and importantly, any salaries over £60,000 per annum, accounts, governance documentation, etc. And it's a useful screening exercise to do before entering formal negotiations with a potential charity partner. Umthombo Trust. That's Leila Stegman photographed, as well as some other images of Umtombo. They've got a safe youth-led space on a local farm nearby Renendale community. The community is very impoverished, with over 50% not having formal housing, but rather having to salvage and cobble together scrap metal, wood, and other materials to create dwellings for themselves. They'll share water from a tap, and also sewage and toilet facilities, which you can imagine are in a state. So creating a safe youth-led space with a range of programs away from the township is a fantastic initiative, and the energy there is really amazing. There are creative arts classes going on, various types of fitness and boxing classes, and commencing in 2025 with Recorder's funding and the approach of cultural connections. There's going to be a restorative youth club and leadership after school program. Importantly, some of the facilitators, Leila's training, are from the local community, so that knowledge is going to get embedded and taken forward. And the approach needs to be nuanced for the youth club, in that there's a lot of trust needed, because the adverse backgrounds and trauma that a lot of the youth carry needs a particular approach, which is skilled and something that Leila's practiced over the years. Umtombo grows, we interact with by buying organic vegetables, which are amazing. They're picked right in front of your eyes out of the soil. It was set up in 2020 at the start of the COVID-19 pandemic to respond to a need for fresh, healthy food. Often low-income people only are able to obtain highly refined, unnutritious food. Land access is a problem, so a 10,000 square meter section of land was negotiated with the local farm. Significant area divided into 400 meter square plots, and committed growers took a 10-year lease. Now, a 10-year lease is a long term, which enables them to establish the right knowledge and create a viable farming business where they can sell surplus and obtain income for that. Water access was created to catch rainwater and store that in water tanks, a tool storeroom and a meeting place, and learning workshops with local growers for inspiration. Knysna's waste, the area and the local municipality has been in a really dire position with its solid waste management services. There have been vehicle breakdowns, mechanical failures at the transfer station, and a huge putrid pile of rubbish rotting in the middle of town, close to the waterways and the lagoon. Leachate was going into this ecologically sensitive area, which is home to an endemic little seahorse. So Recora and myself are able to give capacity building support, and some of the actions to date are meeting with the incumbent small recycling company several times to understand their operational capacities and open communication. So we've restarted weekly collections that hadn't been ongoing for a few years in our area. A short video in a sec about that. Obtaining clarity on the recycling processes, distributing clear sacks to local residents and shops and businesses, engaging with other local partners, and trying to support a municipality that's really under-resourced.
Morning, Ed, for Recora in South Africa. I'm at La Bosca, which is a pretty fancy new restaurant in our area. Let's have a look at the interior and the recycling they've been diligently keeping aside. It's a Portuguese-Italian vibe. The vintage wooden tables are a nod to the Knysna area's timber history. There are more than a dozen water tanks harvesting rainwater in a sustainable, completely off-grid manner. The water is used in the impressive gardens on site, where the Mediterranean ingredients are grown right next to the kitchen. Through the festive season, La Bosca has segregated thousands of aluminium cans and hundreds more glass bottles. With the help of the local recycling company, DM Recycling, we collected a lot of cardboard packaging and filled up 2 of these cage lorry loads in a special collection on a weekend. To Dennis, Trace Miriam, thank you, we see you now. Cheers guys. Hi, bye. Thanks to the whole team at Lebusca for recycling so much and all of the other sustainable initiatives.
That's a bit about the local projects in South Africa, which I'm super pumped about. The Zoological Society of London is a long-term partnership for Recorders going back over 20 years. The annual event for the business takes place there, and it's well enjoyed. And also 2 volunteering sessions help in the mission to protect species and ecosystems for people in the natural world. And in a big city like London, where communities often can't travel to these types of natural environments to see those types of animals, it's an amazing learning environment. So World Wildlife Day this year is around conservation and finance. There's a huge movement to protect biodiversity hotspots, which are often located in low to middle income countries. By protecting the hotspots, one is able to lock in carbon, protect diverse, complex ecosystems with all the plants and the animals they're in. And for the communities there, importantly, there's often ecotourism, livelihood opportunities. So annually, there's already 140 billion roughly invested to protect biodiversity conservation, but this falls short of the 800 billion needed each year. Encouragingly, year on year, there's huge areas being ring fenced for conservation and a huge movement in this direction. By recycling, one is protecting biodiversity. Greenhouse gas emissions are low because recycling reduces the amount of energy needed to produce new products. Pollution associated with resource extraction and production processes is lowered. Deforestation is reduced by the need to harvest raw materials such as timber. Just by recycling a ton of paper or cardboard, you can save 17 trees and 26,000 liters of water. Habitat destruction is mitigated and assists in not displacing communities. On screen, there's an open cast bauxite mine. Bauxite's an ingredient in aluminium process. You can see how devastating it is. It happens also on the marine coastline of the northeast of South Africa. Just by recycling aluminium, one negates the need for that type of process. Thank you very much. Think globally, understand the global issues, and see what one can do acting locally to make an impact and feel that tangible impact and enjoy that. Any questions, my email address is on the bottom. Thank you very much.